There was a time when a cheap car was boring, slow, and you wouldn't dare showing up at your hot date with one of those vehicles. Nowadays, cars are so expensive, 6 figures for an SUV or a pickup truck, and even the cheapest entry-level vehicle like a Honda Civic can rise up over 40 grand. But guess what? Not all is lost, and I'm going to share a list of the cheapest available, although not the worst vehicles on the market that you can get in 2024 that are affordable, fun, fresh, and chocked with technology in the car, truck, and SUV segments. And we'll start with cars. Generally, you're going to find cars that are affordable are most likely going to fall under the subcompact car space. And of course, the Mini by BMW is way too expensive, but cars like the Kia Rio were clearly one of those very affordable pieces. Now, unfortunately, that car is going by the dodo bird, and so that leaves us with the Nissan Versa. The Nissan Versa that starts about $17,405 represents a great deal in this space. Huge trunk with great technology like rear automatic breaker, which you can't even get in a lot of other vehicles. It has great technology throughout, a lot of driver safety aids. It's packed with a punch. The Nissan Versa comes in some great colors, is very attractive, but only one real downside is performance. It doesn't handle all that sharply, it doesn't brake that aggressively, and certainly with a 0 to 60 time of over 10 seconds, it makes it slightly on the slow side. The next great car on our list is a 2024 Kia Forte at just over $20,000, $915. It is slightly more money than the Nissan Versa, but it certainly feels a lot more substantial. As a matter of fact, at the end of the video, I'll include a link on my other channels where I do a full, complete review on this car. The Kia Forte is an amazing car that's a nice upgrade from a car like the Nissan Versa. It comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, or 160,000 kilometers. Has a lot more legroom, both front and back, more trunk space, and generally just feels a lot more substantial. It's wider, it's longer, and it looks more like a mid-sized car. Now, while it's not going to knock your socks off like a Mazda 3 Turbo, or it's certainly not going to drive or handle quite as good as a Honda Civic, it doesn't cost nearly as much either. So it represents a great deal for those looking to get into an affordable ride. And the third option is a Nissan Sentra for 2024 at a slightly higher price tag of about $21,905 starting. It is certainly likely the most attractive and most stylish of the other two vehicles. And because it's from the same family as the Nissan Versa, it features almost all the same technology, the screen in the center, the auto backing up system, but it also comes with a larger trunk, more knee room and headroom in the rear seats, as well as a slight improvement over the front seat space as well from the Nissan Versa. So it certainly represents a significant step up from the Versa in terms of overall packaging. Now, while none of these three cars are actually rocket ships on rails, they all come with the CVT continuously variable transmission, meaning they're all going to have a little bit of that droniness. None of them are rocket ships, so they're all going to have very moderate and mild acceleration, but they're all relatively good on fuel, and they're easy on the pocketbook overall. Relative reliability is solid on these vehicles as well, so you really can't go too wrong. So which is my actual favorite and which would I buy with my hard-earned dollars? Let's face it, the Nissan Versa is definitely bare bones. It's as low cost as you can possibly get. We also have the Nissan Sentra, which clearly has a lot of great attributes, and from a styling perspective, it's my favorite, but you can't ignore the Kia Forte with the improved ergonomics, the better front-end styling, as well as that massive warranty that you get with it. Just gives you the extra peace of mind that you don't get from the other two. So moving along from the cars, if you're thinking about buying a truck, everybody needs a truck. For hauling equipment, maybe towing your boat to the lake, possibly throw some camping gear in the back, or even your trip to the dump, you can load up with a bunch of bags of garbage. A truck always has a great purpose, and nowadays, trucks are built with a lot of luxury in mind as well, and they don't have to be that bare bones bucket of bolts. So unfortunately, many trucks have skyrocketed in price. Look at the likes of the Ford, Dodge, GM, the big three, and their full-size pickup trucks. It's very easy to find a truck for $90,000 or $100,000, but it's not very easy to find one that's under 30 anymore. However, there's a couple great options here for pickup trucks. They're not full size, but they certainly cut the mustard in terms of fitting the bill for both your pocketbook as well as functionality. The first one is the Ford Maverick, which is an ultra popular truck that's been very hard to get your hands on, and one of the more difficult ones, essentially meaning that people are waiting a long time to get their keys in their hand. The Ford Maverick stickers around $26,000 and $55,000. Now, while that's not a super cheap amount of money, it is a lot of vehicle for that cash, and certainly it is one of the more stylish models out there today, as it's the latest generational model from Ford. Now there's really a lot to like about the Maverick, and you do get a couple great engine choices. One is a hybrid drivetrain, which can get you up to about 37 mpg, and as well you can get a feisty little turbocharged engine as well. If you just like standard ICE and you just want to go peppy and quick, you can have a great option there too. You can get all-wheel drive as an upgrade, you can go off-roading with an off-road package, and even better, yes, it's a truck and it can haul up to 4,000 pounds of towing capacity. Not bad for a small compact pickup truck that looks great. The interior makes you feel like you're driving a vehicle that's worth $30,000 more. It looks great, it's stylish, it's functional, it has all kinds of options and features from safety tech as well as comfort nannies. It's a wonderful vehicle, wonderful place to be, and unfortunately it's quite difficult to get, so get your name on the list and you might want to take a look at one of these a little closer. And another very stylish vehicle that you can find in the truck segment is the Hyundai Santa Cruz. Yeah, based on the Santa Fe SUV, clearly it's a midsize or compact style SUV, but now transferred over to the pickup truck genre. Now, while it's not exactly chump change at $27,985 base sticker price, it still is relatively affordable, at least when you go shopping for some of the big three. It also feels like it's slightly better stapled together than you're getting with the Ford Maverick. The Hyundai actually has some great trim finishing and great detail, and it actually feels like it's worth substantially more. And so since we're talking about the most affordable options here, go with the base engine and the two-wheel drive combination. Now, while they're not the most flexible or the most desirable, stepping up to the larger engine and the all-wheel drive package actually puts you way up into that $40,000 territory, which at that point you're no longer cheap and there's better options. But for this price tag in the base model, the base Santa Cruz is a great option to look at. And just in case neither of these match your bill because you're looking not for a unibody based chassis, but you want something like a body on frame, then you're gonna have to step up into the Nissan Frontier, which is the closest thing at about $31,000. And then you're starting to move away from that cheap territory. Certainly not an inexpensive vehicle by any means either. So it really boils down to the former two units. And so between these options, if you want the most affordable, cheapest way to upgrade to a four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive system, and you want something attractive, stylish, and it's going to save you money because we're talking hybrid, well, the Ford Maverick is the vehicle I would choose between these two units. Certainly harder to find, but definitely worth the wait. And let's say you don't want to buy a car, maybe not even a pickup truck, maybe SUVs are the reason you're here watching the video. Let's talk about some of the lowest cost SUVs available on the market today, and it all starts with a Hyundai Venue. At $21,135, it's a stretch to call it an SUV, but in fact it is. Well, the Venue has great backseat space, front seat space. The trunk is slightly smaller, but if you want that overall packaging that's more flexible than buying a hatchback car, this might be your choice for the cheapest alternative. Two downsides, unfortunately, it rides really low, so your ground clearance isn't particularly high, and as well, it only comes in front-wheel drive format, so it doesn't necessarily have the all-wheel drive grip that you expect from most SUVs. Now, unfortunately, even with some great technology inside, both safety as well as comfort and ergonomics, the interior quality of fit and finish isn't necessarily top shelf. As a matter of fact, it sort of reminds me of Fisher-Price and my latest tackle box when I went fishing. But either way, it's a very affordable way to get into an SUV that packs a punch, full of features as well as space, and you can do it all on a budget. So another great option in the 2024 SUV space is the Kia Soul. Now, it's one of the more attractive of the vehicles in this segment at this particular price tag, and which happens to run from about $21,351 starting price. It does represent relatively good value. Now, older Kia Souls had some reliability issues and durability issues, but if you're just looking to get into something low cost, frugal, and slightly fun and sporty, this might be your option. Now, the Kia Soul has lost more powerful drivetrains, and they really smoothed out some of the lines, making the design and the themes a little bit more grown up, which defeats the purpose because it's meant to be a sporty, fun, frivolous little unit. It's still a great buy. These Kia Souls have great interior space, back seats are great, front seats are great. It also has blind spot monitoring, which is great for an extra $500 upgrade, a relatively minor cost, specifically if you're doing a lot of freeway driving where it could put you in a potential compromising situation. It's great to have technology like that underway. As well, we can't forget that in fact, it actually has that amazing warranty, 10-year, 100,000 miles that we're finding in Kia and Hyundai cars. Now, a great redesign from a model that pre-existed was a 2024 Chevy steps up their game with what they call the Trax. The Buick Encore Chevy Trax, very much the same vehicle, very tiny subcompact SUV, full and packed full of features. And fortunately, it has some great design themes. Chevy's really stepped up their game on the front end of these vehicles, making them look very aggressive and yet quality stylish at the same time. For about $21,500, it represents a phenomenal deal on this subcompact SUV space. Now, unfortunately, it does come with a small diminutive 1.2-liter turbo 3-cylinder engine, slightly rougher idling, but it's peppy and it provides just enough power to make this vehicle still fun to drive. While it sounds like a small engine, the rest of the vehicle is quite small too, so it does just fine. Has a great interior, much improved over the previous generation with great tech, accent lighting, and a lot of the safety nannies you would hope in modern day vehicles. It also happens to have the best space of this particular segment with more front seat, back seat, as well as the fold down space in the back. It has a great amount of room. The only downside, it only comes in two-wheel drive. That's the downside here. If you're looking for all-wheel drive, this may not be your bet. Now, which one would I pick of these three? I'm not the biggest fan of 3-cylinder engines, and certainly the better drivetrain warranty that you find in the Kia Soul, up to 10 years on 100,000 miles, just makes that a vehicle that's hard to ignore. That would be my choice of these three vehicles. If you're looking for an affordable, not so much cheap vehicle that would be actually fun to drive, to own, and that you don't get caught up in a $100,000 price tag to buy, I hope these help you out if you've been shopping, that maybe I can steer you in the right direction. And as promised, the video right there with the Kia Forte review, and right there, of course, is what's going on in the truck market. It is collapsing. Hope to see each and every one of you on the next one. We'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.